So, so thank you guys for being here. I saw this movie in LA when it came out, and just fell instantly in love with it. I'm so excited to get a chance to have a conversation with you guys about it. I'll start with the most original Q&A question ever asked. How did it start? What was the origin of it? And I guess Gina probably starts with you. Yeah.
Well, foremost, thank you, Ryan, for being here. Ryan tweeted about the movie, which shocked me, and I reached out to him via Twitter, and he's here now. It's it's pretty amazing. Yeah, honestly, I was at Alicia Keys' concert, and she was singing Diary, and I write to music, so it's just a natural part of the process. And this image, the first image came, which was a woman sitting on a balcony, and a guy standing behind her trying to talk her off the ledge, and it just started formulating in my head a love story that was really about how do you love someone who doesn't want to live, and that's really where it started, and then just grew from there, and really wanted to touch on the music industry, which I love, but I have a love-hate relationship right now with R&B and hip hop, and also just dealing with some personal issues as well, but also really wanting to put out in the world this theme of choose life, which was really important to me personally. So yeah.
Oh. What was your connection with, like, in terms of the music industry? Was it something that, I know you've worked with recording artists as actors? Did you have more involvement in it than that, or was it just something that you were kind of in that world because of that?
I think I'm already in the world because I know so many musical artists, and I love music so much. But I was also fascinated by how many artists we know who have at one point contemplated suicide. And then in being able to talk to them, you really realize what artists go through, the fact that you have to be on 24/7, and how exhausting that can be, and especially if who you are, your persona is not authentic to you, and what that can do to your soul. And that's really what Gugu and I wanted to explore with this piece.
It's got shades of, like, A Star Is Born in there. It's got that kind of, that darker side of fame in there, yeah.
I mean, I researched modern artists, of course, because we were dealing with that, but some of the earlier influences were Marilyn Monroe and Judy Garland, and what they went through as child artists, and also what having their mothers push them into these sexualized personas, and it really is, when you're dealing with somebody that's supposed to have your best intentions, and they don't, how damaging that can be to not have unconditional love, or have someone's love be a carrot that you have to keep achieving to get it. And I found that really fascinating as well.
Gugu, how'd you connect with Gina? How did this all come about?
Gosh, it was about, I don't know, it was about 2011. And I got the script from my manager, and I read it, and I thought that the point of view was so interesting to see. We're so used to the sort of the glossy sort of fantasy girl, and to see sort of that deconstructed, and to see the fragility underneath it was really refreshing to me. And I met Gina. I had an audition, and I sang. Was it Blackbird we sang?
Yeah,
really?
I sang Nina Simone's Blackbird, and then read a few scenes, and we sort of got talking. Initially, the character was American, so I auditioned with an American accent, and and then I had another audition, and then actually read with Nate, although he wasn't cast to do the film. And then it was sort of quite a long process, really, wasn't it? Because then we actually made a teaser of the film, sort of it was 8-minute short.
Because every studio turned it down, and
Oh, yeah?
and our studio that we were at, Sony, let it go, and so we needed to do something, and I wanted to showcase how good Gugu was. Because this was before Belle, and so.
So what had you seen? Because Belle was the first thing I saw you in. What had you seen
I mean, I
before?
really hadn't.
Oh, really? So
It was-
really, you just came in cold.
She
and-
came in cold, and now my casting director had told me, you know, you got to see this woman Gugu,
Yeah.
and and it really was an instantaneous thing. I'd seen a ton of people, both artists and actors,
Yeah.
but it's that thing as a director in your gut when you know that it's that person. It was pretty phenomenal within a couple minutes. I just wanted to keep watching Gugu. And then when she sang and was able to sing, I mean, that was it.
It was over. Yeah. What was so you made a teaser.
Yeah.
What was that process? Did you shoot scenes from the movie? Did you shoot like a trailer type thing? What was
Well, we
that?
didn't have the music yet
Yeah.
because so I actually we sort of did a music video sort of style thing where
Like
I
the
sort of-
opening a little bit? That
Yeah,
kind
a
of
little
style?
bit
Yeah.
like the opening
Yeah.
where I actually lip synced to a Rihanna song,
Skin.
Skin, if anyone knows that song. And then there was a scene with the Kaz character, but actually the actor who was playing him was, where was he? He was filming another movie, so we were going to have a scene, and then Gina was like, brilliant, I know, let's like make it that he couldn't make the date because his movie ran over, so we had him on Skype. And actually that sort of really worked because of the loneliness and isolation of being an artist in a hotel room and your boyfriend's on Skype and that long distance relationship. So we had sort of the music video scene, and then, God, I can't remember
then
what was in
it's
between. There was
Yeah, it
something
was
else in between.
It was a music video when you get that her characters, and she's wearing what she wears in the music video in the movie is what she wore in the teaser. And
Okay.
again, the movie wasn't set up, and the fact that Gugu went there for the teaser, I knew,
Yeah.
like, at that
Yeah.
point, yeah, she's my girl. So yeah, it started with the music video. You can tell she has some trepidation about it. And then after the video, she goes into a SUV, and she's hounded by paparazzi, and then goes home to a hotel, the Four Seasons, and she's in the mirror, and she starts taking everything off. And then the last scene is her talking to the Kaz character it was actually over FaceTime.
Oh, sorry.
And they have a conversation, and she admits that she hates what she's doing, and then the last is her alone in the hotel room singing Blackbird,
Oh,
and then
wow.
walking to the balcony and looking over.
Did you ever put this thing out there? Is it on like the blue or anything? No, you thought of it? No.
I mean,
Be
you know,
interesting to see. I mean, I don't know. It's
I
just-
mean, I love singing, but it was something that we did to get the film made.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm proud of it. I think it's really good, and it completely showcases Gugu. I think also because it has a Rihanna song, we probably wouldn't have
Oh,
been able to
there you go.
do
But
that
it was
anyway.
really nice because it was like a rehearsal process as well for us to work together, as well as the auditions. But and working with Gina was just such an incredible experience because Gina would be sending me music videos, and we'd hang out, we'd go and see movies. Like we went to see the Katy Perry movie, we went to see Rihanna in concert live, we went to see Beyonce in concert.
It was hard work.
Yeah. But like we even went to see, we went to see like the Marilyn Monroe movie that came out with Michelle Williams. I've forgotten the name of it now. What was it called?
Week with Marilyn.
My Week with Marilyn. Just in because and Gina had me read like a Marilyn Monroe biography and just kind of the parallels of like you were saying before about the cost of having a heavily sexualized armor and when people only really see that and so the whole sort of process and then making the teaser was you sort of suddenly realize you've got a shorthand as a sort of an actor and a director. You've already worked together before you're actually putting the thing on film.
Right. Well, it's such a. I mean, it's such a layer. Rewatch it just recently. It's such a layered performance, and there's so many. It's incredible, just from the beginning to the end, the amount of layers that the character sheds and the amount of defenses that and right up till the end. It's because when they meet and there's still artifice there that she has to make the decision to get past. It's an incredibly kind of beautiful process watching it. I know that your shooting schedule was very tight on this, right?
Yeah.
So
28 days.
29, including
29 days.
one day in
One day in
London.
Yes, which is incredibly quick. How did you guys have? did you guys have a long? I mean, you shot this teaser. You had time. Did you rehearse? Was there a long rehearsal process?
Yeah, I mean, I love rehearsal, but this film took a very long time to get set up, but it actually ended up being beneficial because even though it wasn't set up, and this is, as a director, why I love Gugu so much and her work ethic, is that we just kept working on the character. And we got this great choreographer, Rian Gibson, who works with Lady Gaga and Nicki Minaj. I knew I wanted her from the outset. And Gugu started working with her with choreography, early on. And again, the fact that Gugu kept working on it and we were able to work on it together, by the time we finally got to real rehearsals, I mean, you were pretty settled in the characters, so it was really about creating the chemistry between her and Nate and just working out the blocking. So by the time we got to set, like everything was there, the character was there, the chemistry was there, because it was such a long gestation.
And it was weird because also we shot the teaser, and then I came back to London to shoot Belle, and was in London for 6 months, and didn't know, and then the movie got put back, and so then I sort of started with the dancing. So, but already sort of the seeds had been laid of the character, and it was sort of that it was still sort of with me. I was still sort of looking out, and we were still emailing, even though I was in London, and emailing sort of ideas and inspiration and articles
and that's what I just throw out again, any directors up there, but Gugu was so invested. She actually, I hope you don't mind, she wrote a song as the character and sent it to me, and it was so dope. It's in the movie. The lyrics that Noni reads to Kaz, those were Gugu's.
Oh,
so,
good.
Yeah.
We have a little surprise. We have a piano accompaniment. We're going to actually just have you do a quick rendition, if you don't mind. We have a blue spot. That's incredibly cool. So, and in terms of because another part of what's fun about it is just kind of the way it both, as well as showing the dark side, it's also a very funny movie. It's got a lot of in the way that it shows the music industry, especially at the beginning. There is a real sense of kind of there's some real bite to it. Did you do any research? I mean, I know you had insight into the music industry.
Well, we went to the Grammys. We went to the Grammys the year that Adele swept the board.
All right.
And we had backstage passes, and it was amazing because just to be backstage, I remember seeing Adele's dressing room door swing open and sort of walking by and having somebody was powdering her nose, and then Rihanna kind of dashes into the green room and hugs someone, and then Nicki Minaj sweeps in dressed like Little Red Riding Hood, and it was just but just to breathe in that environment. And we also went to a club in LA that was it called Greystone Manor?
Very good.
A club that was inspired the club scene, which really was an experience.
It was. I mean, it's a club where Chris Brown and Rihanna and they all frequent, and to be there to see what that world is like.
And people really did come out with what was it, polar bears or wolf, and the whole culture of bottle service and scantily clad waitresses and basketball players and that whole kind of scene.
The whole Clippers team was next to us in VIP, and that's actually where I got it to put the Clippers in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was a trip.
Wow.
And also working on the music was with The Dream, who wrote all of Noni's songs, and The Dream is massive music producer who works with all of these artists. I mean, he wrote
Single Ladies.
He wrote all the
Umbrella.
Single Ladies. He wrote Umbrella for Rihanna. That's his world. So almost just working with him and being in the music studio with him was it was sort of, and, he only works at night. And I mean, really only works at night.
Wow.
He really only, I mean, the first time I think I was in front of a microphone was at 2 a.m. I was so nervous. And, but he, just being around those people and the rhythm of their lives sort of informs you, I think.
Yeah.
And we did an improv as well, which I was hoping would help
Oh God, the improv, yeah.
What kind of improv? Like, what
We
do
went
you
on
mean,
a
like a
date.
rehearsal?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was, I think we were a week into rehearsal,
Yeah.
and I just told Nate and Gugu that they were going to go on a lunch date in character, pick the restaurant, outside table, and I remember telling Nate, your goal is to get her sunglasses off, and told Gugu, you know, you have to, don't take your sunglasses off. So they thought that that was the exercise. So they're sitting outside. I wasn't there. I was scouting, but I had my assistant there filming, and then they're sitting there, and then a woman walks up and asks Gugu for an autograph. And then suddenly about 5 photographers show up and just start taking pictures, and then it was 10. I'd hired 30 paparazzi altogether
Completely ambushed us.
to get just a costume so that they could see what it felt like to be in the middle of that. And
Wow.
and the people I hired were great because they were relentless, and they had to.
And we ended up like going out the back. We went into the kitchen and called the driver, and ended up like escaping through the kitchen of the restaurant. And like it was a whole sort of thing. And then the police came by at one point because there was such a kerfuffle outside on this street in LA.
This could have gone very wrong.
Yeah.
This could
You
have-
know what?
yeah.
I was a wreck the
Yeah.
entire time. I was getting updates because also people in the restaurant were taking pictures because they didn't know.
Well, they didn't know who I was, but they thought that I could be somebody. So they were like, they thought that maybe I should, you know, because of how everybody was responding. So then they started sort of getting their phones out, and just in case. It was weird.
LA.
It was bizarre.
LA, man.
But yeah, I felt like it was a great way to bond them, and
Wow.
it seemed to work. But also, again, let Nate feel what it must feel like to be a guy within that world, and then
Yeah.
Gugu to understand what it feels like to have to always be on.
During that rehearsal process, do you how locked is the script? Do you guys do improv? Do you work in, like, I don't know, how malleable
The
is it?
script was very
Pretty locked?
locked,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
But,
figured.
well, okay.
But it
It's
was
not a
quite
bad
odd.
thing. It's
But
not
yeah.
a bad thing. It's
But I mean, by the time it got to rehearsal, it really was like 55 drafts of the
sure.
script. So
yeah,
it was.
yeah.
But I do during rehearsal. I'm much better. Before I wouldn't let you change that but I feel like I'm much better now. And during rehearsal, like go for it, and then unless I'm totally wrong, but I feel like okay, maybe not. I feel like I gave y'all some leeway.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
I'm reading. There's a lot to unpack here.
I think when you're working with a writer-director as well, there is that thing of, you know that, I mean, I knew that there were so many drafts of the script,
Yeah.
and so you go, okay, so I'm not just going to ask to change this line. I know that, like, Gina has agonized over this line and made this choice, and it's not, you make it work, and
Yeah.
if,
Though I will say one thing about rehearsal process is that the studio was pretty hands-off, but they gave me a note that they wanted more between Noni and Kaz. They wanted more discussion and more conversation and more connection, and I didn't feel I needed it, but I was, compromising and wrote in a couple lines. And we got to rehearsal, and they were corny, and
Yeah.
they didn't need it. Like, their chemistry was so strong. So
Yeah.
it was actually fun to just start hacking dialogue. That didn't, again, that's the key about casting people that have great chemistry as well. That these
Yeah.
two did, that you just don't need all that dialogue.
One more question, then we'll open it up to some questions out here. But I wanted to ask one thing that both in Love and Basketball and also in this movie, one thing that I love about your films is characters who, in another film, you could imagine would be there just to serve one specific purpose. You always bring a complexity to them, whether it's like I'm thinking of the parents, Quincy's parents in Love and Basketball, or here Minnie Driver's character is what I'm getting into, which she ends up just. It really feels like almost like the movie is stealthily almost about that relationship, and that ends up being really the emotional crux of it. In terms of Minnie Driver, because I'm assuming that she came on probably a little later, or was she in earlier?
It
or-
was frightening. She
Yeah.
came on a week before filming.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I did not have the mother, and I'm always optimistic, and I know everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And Minnie was always on my list, but I was afraid. I wanted the mother to be young, but I felt that she might be too young, and that was the only reason. But it just came down to, let me just put the two of them together, and it was an instant connection between those two. They just had a conversation and they just fed off each other.
Yeah.
And Minnie also has such an eclectic life, you know, an authentic connection to Black culture as well. And growing up in Barbados for her first 11 years, she's a musical artist as well. And her connection was so strong. And, you know, Gugu, you know, which I can understand, said, you know, she was really hoping I would cast a real Brit, because to try and act opposite somebody that was faking an accent the whole time
Yeah.
would have been tough. And Minnie was just a gift to the film. And really, we didn't want her character to be a simple villain, because that's not interesting. And Minnie brought so many incredible layers, I
she
think.
made her so sort of snaky and manipulative, and really it was, I mean, there were many things that attracted me to the script, but really it was the mother-daughter relationship that, more than the romantic relationship, I think, also being myself, you know, single parent, only child. I mean, I don't have like a pushy momager like Macy, but I sort of, I just thought, oh, what if my life had been different, and what if I had got what I wished for when I was 9, and, you know, ended up in LA or something, you know, and I thought that relationship was just so fascinating and sort of dark and intense and real.
And ultimately redemptive. I mean, the beautiful thing where she's on the phone at the end is, it's, I don't know, you find you bring it around to a point where you show all sides of it, and it's, yeah, it's really beautiful.
I do just want, I don't know if she's still here, or if her family, is India still here? Yeah, I just wanted to give a little shout out to India, who played young Noni in the film and sang Blackbird so beautifully. Oh, well, thank you. I'll start with that second easy one first. I was just excited about that scene because in the writing process, I knew that scene was about Noni being able, you know, and growing up and having a mother trying to change her and telling her the way that she was born was not good enough, and to be able to finally look in the mirror and love what she sees, and just go back to her authentic self. And I love that she, in taking out the weave, and she just looks like the little girl again. So it was really about that. I mean, I just love the scene for what it said, but I will be honest that in the first previews that we had, the reaction to that scene was kind of overwhelming. I always thought the airplane scene would get the biggest reaction, which it does, but that scene seems to be the most memorable, and I think that's, you know, that was exciting to me, that people were understood the emotion of that scene and the power of that scene and what it meant for Noni and for me, hopefully, for women in general to, you know, really want to be your authentic self. In terms of, I love your analogy. God, how do you answer that? I will just say, because we were talking about this earlier, you know, when you make a film, success is not guaranteed, so you have to love the creative journey, and this was an exceptional creative journey, working with Gugu and creating this character in the story. And it's the film that was in my head is up on screen, and so grateful to the studio for allowing me to do that, to cast who I wanted, to make the film, to stay away and leave me alone. Unfortunately, you know, marketing, publicity didn't step up the way that they should, but at the end of the day, I mean, I would do it again. So disappointed that you know, it didn't get a bigger push, you know, here and even in the States or marketed correctly, but at the end of the day, I'm proud of the film, and that's what's most important to me. No, writing it, I always knew that the character Noni would sing a Nina Simone song. I just didn't know which one it was going to be. So I have every Nina Simone album, and it was literally just sitting there listening, and I came across Blackbird, and it was like it was written for the film. It was pretty phenomenal. So, and it actually changed the trajectory of the film, because in the original script, in Mexico, Noni sings her own song. But once I found Blackbird, I realized that I thought it was better that in that moment she's going back to trying to be the singer she had hoped to be when she was a little girl, and then at the end she sings her original song.
And the film was actually called Blackbird
It was called Blackbird.
for a long time.
A very long time.
It's always you start with the script. I mean, that's the beginning of everything. And I think if the script is good, you know, that's always, you know, what attracts you to a project. And for me, this was so unique, and I could really sort of see Noni's journey, and also the sort of, I was most fascinated by the facade and the armor, and then the fact that in one movie you get to play all of the glamour, all of the sort of shiny plastic stuff, and strip it all away like that. And so for me, it was really the arc that really sort of attracted me to the character, because sometimes you get to play the sort of glamorous role, or the no makeup sort of role, or the, you know, whatever, but this really had that scope to it. So I think it's really, for me, just like looking for sort of the nuggets in the script and the message of the script. I think sometimes it's not always just about the character or playing the lead role, but I feel like this is quite an inspiring film, and you know, I respond quite instinctively to those messages if I think that it's, you know, you spend so much time on these projects, like if you're what are you putting out into the world, and does the world need it, and so I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, I work on the script, and it always comes from the words and the journey and what the story is about, and then you sort of piece it all together from there.
And for me, Ryan should answer this too, but for me as a director, I mean, I have 4 things that I look for. Craft, which is tantamount, the fact that an actor has something to draw on, it's a gift for a director. Work ethic, and Gugu's work ethic was insane, and I could sense that. And again, she worked months and months on this character with the dancing and the singing, and then bravery as well. I need to know that you're willing to go there, especially with a love story. You have to give yourself fully to the character so we believe the relationship, and Gugu absolutely went there. And then you have to be a cool person. I had one bad experience with an actor, and life is too short, and I will never, ever.
Who was it? You could tell. Just all right. We'll tell you after.
I'll tell you after.
Later. All right, yeah.
But seriously, you want people that respect the craft, that are not misogynistic and jerks, because don't get me started. But again, because I love what we do, we're lucky to get to do what we do, and so you just want everyone on the same page, and everybody, because it's fun. It's really fun. So I just want to make sure that the people on set, you know, share that vision with me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, foremost, thank you, and I'm sure Nate thanks you as well. I'm blessed, honestly, I have a great husband, and he is the template for my male characters. I know that there are really good guys out there, and that is not always portrayed, especially for black men. So it's important to me, for me, to put that. I also have 2 young boys, and I want to put characters up on screen that they can aspire to and be inspired by. So it's absolutely intentional. And I also think it's more interesting storytelling where both, as opposed to it's the girlfriend or the boyfriend, that both male and female characters have an arc.
It's great. Really
Thank
came
you.
across.
Thank you.
I think we're at the end here. I think that it's important for all of us to remember the life of the movie. A movie does not end at its release; it begins at its release. And so let's all spread the word about this wonderful, wonderful movie, and let's burn the house down for Gina and Gugu right now.